Welcome to Barber in round 12 of the first season of the ERL INDYCAR series. As you can see, the drivers coming through the opening turn on their lap around the pace car. You'll notice that some of the teams have new liveries. For example, you're watching the Penske number 9 of your Puff at the front of the pack in a red version of the livery. That's because a lot of the teams have opted to run their Season 2 liveries a few races early. But as for the grid today, we start off with your Puff, bringing back that early season qualifying form to Barber, followed by Carson Thornburg and teammate Elliot Delly. Then it's the two Sims boys of Niven Colby and Mikjan Gurovic. Mikjan Gurovic is actually behind Milsar's Micah. I still can't get it right because Milsar's NYC, it just looks similar to me. And that's going to take forever to get used to. Francis Austin for Arrow McLaren SP, Arrow McLaren not using their new livery for today, followed by Hexel Mark driving for Revolution Racing, who are very evidently using their new livery. And it's Apex Pinnacle also using a new livery. Well, they should have been, they just didn't have it ready in time. And then Hyperdrive Racing's Lewis Olsen behind Ghosted. The 95 of Lewis Olsen didn't really have the best qualifying showing. Then it's Salos Kynes, Max Portcar, Sebastian Messian, and here you find the championship leader of Quan Todoroki in the 33 down in 14th. Lil Buns starts in 15th for the first time driving for KV Racing after Newman Haas collapsed multiple races before KV were scheduled to come in. So you can see the car doesn't actually have that many sponsors, especially not around the side pod area. Then it's Linus Eriksson, yes, Oqui, Tommy, not Q, and teammate David Camino for Power Motorsports with a lot more white on the car, followed by Safstan and Davi Carrera. As you can see, the drivers heading down the hill here in Barber. And they are obviously trying to generate a little bit more heat into those wet compound tires than usual. The rain pouring on this circuit. And they now head down the hill into the chicane with the pace car peeling into the pits at the end of this lap. It'll be your Puff leading us away for Team Penske, powered by Dragon. Rounding the final two turns, what can the Chip Ganassi guys do from behind him? Boogity, 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 let's go racing, boys! And Gurovic. Rounding turn number 1. Gaps forming as is usual in these wet conditions with a rolling start. No one really trying to make any moves. That's Quan Todoroki watching Sebastian Messian go alongside with his teammate. Side by side they go. Down the inside goes Sebastian Messian, and he's going to use some push to pass to get himself up into 11th. He's almost emptied his entire battery. Portcar covers off his teammate, who goes down the inside on him, up into 13th position for him. And you can see Messian still trying to go alongside his countryman in Salos Kynes as Portcar comes alongside. Here comes Max Portcar in the Andretti green car, trying to send it down the inside, coming through turn 9. As we look to Carson Thornburg for Chip Ganassi, he's not really had the best of starts, but it also really wasn't the worst of starts. The top 10 are really not fighting for position. They're keeping it single file. But the big news is Quan Todoroki. He didn't make up or lose any positions after the opening skirmish of turns on this opening lap. And corner car warning for you, a Puff. Gets another one of those, and that's far off the track for Gurovic and Austin. Portcar goes off. Lil Buns, 5-second time penalty. Is that for causing a collision? Probably is, but you saw the drivers going so far. Messian fastest lap. Here comes Thornburg, trying to go around the outside of you. Puck not quite able to do so. He's going to have to be using push to pass if he wants to get past, and I'm not too sure if he has any. Todoroki, 5-second time penalty, causing a collision. Here comes Carson Thornburg to try and take the lead of this race, and the net race leading the championship, but he's not got it yet. Todoroki's dropped down to 16th as there goes Oqui in that heavily Sonic sponsored car as Olsen 5-second time penalty for colliding with Francis Austin. Somehow Puff is still leading this as they head into turns 10, 11, 12, 13 and 14, one of the best complexes on the entire calendar. Rounding turn 14 now. Heading onto this long straight into 15. Honestly, some of these turns don't really feel like turns. Others are absolutely brutal on the cars. Looking back with Thornburg, you can see his teammate Telly. 5-second time penalty for Puff. Corner cut. Might have actually been a similar penalty. Yeah, and Olsen, second track limits warning. Didn't get a corner cut. In comes Gurovic and Ghosted this early on already for Inters. It's lap 4 of 13 and already drivers thinking, you know what, maybe it's time for the Inters. With Seguerra and Anot Q both coming into the pits. The KV Racing man, for the first time making a pit stop in green, comes out of the pits right now. It is actually drying up a little bit, but the rain's still falling somewhat here in Barber. And with Puff still leading, his teammate coming into the pits, I'm pretty sure that the main idea down at Dragon Penske, the main idea with those guys doing a split strategy is to cover whether or not one of them is better. Staying out on the wets of the Inters. And just looking at the mini sector times, it does look quite similar. They're not really setting too different of lap times. Delhi's got the fastest lap, by the way, which will currently see him with an extra point. The net race lead belonged to Carson Thornburg, and the rain is slowing down significantly. Thornburg on the back. He's going to try and send it down the inside. Coming out of the final turn 18. And in comes Puff. Staying out as Thornburg, and Hexel Mark has cut a corner. Here comes Boardcar through the chicane. Quee cuts the corner. And what tires are going on? Those are dry compounds. So the rain has stopped falling. The track is still wet. And that's enough for some of the drivers to think, yeah, we should probably, let's just try and go for slicks. Mickey Ongurovic has cut a corner and he should be ahead of his teammate. Oh, just about. Yeah, there goes Gurovic in front. Staying out an extra lap with those wet tires was not beneficial. And I think this is where the Inters are really going to start shining, because now there might be a little bit of an issue of overheating for the full wets. Well, actually, for Thornburg, they're in their perfect working condition, apparently. As we look to the two Sims guys as Milsos takes second. There's still a lot of spray being kicked up from the back of these ERL 01 cars. But Thornburg in the lead in front of the two Sims behind him, cuts the corner, however. Does he want to pit running turn 18? He doesn't. Neither do either of the Sims drivers. Hexel Mark in 4th position as Austin getting a track limits warning. In comes Hexel. Should expect hards going on to make it to the 13th lap. Safsan with a track limits warning. The lowest placed driver on a set of wets. And oh my goodness, Gurovic, 5-second time penalty for a corner cut. Thought he went off, but he did not, thankfully. Puff came out so far down the order. 10-second time penalty for Puff, for an RQ rather. We saw 10 seconds worth of time penalties for a corner cut in Pikes Peak. Puff with a track limit, and similarly so for David Camino. It's his second one for the Romanian. And further up the road, the Sims drivers fighting within each other, and you can see push to pass, the aerodynamic one available. They only do that if the ERL believes that, yes, it is dry enough for this to be usable without any issues, so maybe dry tires could be strapped on pretty soon. Thornburg, 5-second time penalty for cutting a corner. Not ideal for the man trying to take the championship lead from a guy who's not even in the top 10. There goes Boardcar, almost contacts with an RQ as Austin getting a track limits warning for cutting a corner down at that very same chicane. Safsan getting a track limits warning as well. I think with the wet tire guys, they are bargaining on track position currently. Gurovic with a track limits warning and further back for cutting a corner as well. Here comes Boardcar trying to go around the outside of Tommy, the Revolution man, with the airbox now proudly displaying their Italian heritage, as I think that was Olsen getting a warning. Same with Hexel. In comes in our queue. What tyres are those? Those are soft tyres going on. Millsauce Micah's taking the lead. There goes Micah in the number 11 Sims Motorsport car in front of Carson Thornburg. Thorn's beginning to show in the sides of some of these tyre strategies at play. Olsen with a corner cut warning, and there's no spray being kicked up. The track is dry now. I don't think... Yeah, look at the state of those tyres. 135 degrees Celsius on the dash. These tyres are not suited for these conditions anymore. Colby with a corner cut, and he's weaving like a madman. He's got no grip. Into the wall for Niven Colby. He's facing the wrong direction. All of the guys on the wet tyres, these are like extremely worn softs right now. As onto soft tyres goes Millsauce Micah and Messian. 5-second time penalty. Yellow's still down there. That's for Saf San, who's got front wing damage and is gonna continue with those wet tyres. These strategical options and gambits being played, I'm not too sure if all of them are the greatest. Circuera, 5-second time penalty for calling a corner. Yellow's in the opener. Sebastian Messian has gone off. 10-second time penalty. Quan's hit him. Track limits warning. That was Bortko who hit him, rather, but Quan has got a 5-second time penalty. You are above track limits. It's warning for cutting a corner further back. He should actually have some very quick and fresh tyres. Olsen, 5-second time penalty for cutting a corner as well. There are 5 laps left. If you're pitted for softs for your first stop, that might not work too well. Linus Eriksson leads here in Barber, and it's a race that has been chaotic down to the tyre strategies at play for all the teams in the ERL. You've got every single tyre compound out there. You've got softs, you've got mediums, you've got hards, you've got a lot of wets, and a single driver on the Greenwald Inters, that being Davisa Carrera. Wow. And you can see 125 degrees Celsius. That is the tyre temperature for those wets. They are burning. That's the only real adjective to use. As Micah gets past his teammate Ericsson Pitts. Millsauce Micah leads in Barber. Quan Todoroki gets passed by Carson Thornburg as Bortcar track limits into the wall. 10-second time penalty has been awarded. Saf San gets 10 seconds for a corner cut. Out of the race has gone Saf San. Messian has come into the pit, and Saf, I'm sorry to say this, but understandably, with these conditions, there's not really too much to say. That chicane, that final chicane, it's still very wet if you dip a wheel onto the curbs or white line. Yes, it does look a lot grayer because of how much tarmac has been laid on it. This is a very well-raced circuit. The full course yellow is ending, and Max Bortcar is still out there on the wets. He's the only man out there on wet compound tires. The tread blocks are going to be unbelievable. As we're still on board with the number 29, Qui's going to come past him any second. Now here comes the number 99. There goes the number 99. Carson Thornburg in second position currently. He's in a brilliant position to take the championship lead heading into the penultimate round of the season in Detroit, as Micah getting a corner cut warning. Ooh, that can be a little bit spicy as this race comes to a head. Corner cut for Carson Thornburg as well. 3 laps to go. Bortcar, you can see in front of Tommy as Qui corner cut off the track went Linus Eriksson for a second there. You can see the KV Racing driver of Little Bumps going off the track as Bortcar comes in, and he'll have to serve a 10-second time penalty. Todoroki corner cut warning as well. So you can see so many drivers struggling to keep it on the track. Of course, officially it may be dry, but there's still lots of a lack of grip. Circuera, 5-second time penalty, track limits. As Micah still leading with 3 to the checkered flag. Camino in 20th position with a corner cut. This race is absolutely insane. Quan Todoroki, fastest first sector of anyone. He's in 10th position. Every point counts. He's currently roughly 9 points ahead of Thornburg in the championship, but as it would stand, Thornburg would take the lead by, well, 10 points. So it's a reversal +1. As Micah heads through the chicane, 5-second time penalty for Millsauce. Thornburg heads down into the final chicane, 16 and 17, and then it rounds out to 18, and he's been given a 5-second time penalty for cutting corners as well. It's all down there. Ericsson, forcing Queeg to go as wide as he did. And both of them with time penalties now. And honestly, for Linus, that was unfair of the highest heavens. Quan has a 5-second time penalty for leaving the track and gaining an advantage. Ghosted track limits, his second one of the day. So you can see you a Puff getting passed by Davi Sercarera and coming into the pits for his second of the day. Lewis Olsen, you saw right there, corner cut for the number 95, Camino, Salas Kine, so many drivers going off the track. It's hard to keep track of them all. Ewa Puff went onto a set of mediums. He could have gone for softs, but mediums will still get him to the end of the race either way. But he will be at the back of the pack. And currently, the man who's looking to win this race is still Millsauce, even with that time penalty as he heads down the hill. The soft tires are struggling though. Corner cut for Millsauce Micah as he goes on to start the penultimate lap of this race. Carson Thornburg. Oh my goodness. Look at how many he places on that chicane he's cutting across. Thornburg, 5-second time penalty already. He's got a track limits warning, same as O'Quee in front of Linus Eriksson. Hexel Mark, second track limits warning. Here comes Linus Eriksson going alongside it and up into 4th position, but he's still alongside him. Gurovic, 5-second time penalty. Not the news that she would have wanted today. As there goes Eriksson to P2. Delhi with a track limits warning. He is down in 15th and his teammates up in 2nd. And Camino, corner cut penalty. Lewis Olsen heading off the track entirely. No penalty for that. Look at how much red there is on the timing tire. It's a whole lot of red. As Ewa Puff in last position. 5-second time penalty for cutting a corner just to rub some salt in the wounds of the piss poor strategy played down at Dragon Penske. And if you've got any problems with how I pronounce Penske, then leave a subscription and a comment telling me how to actually pronounce it, because fuck you. And Mike has got 10 seconds. 10-second time penalty for Millsauce Micah on the penultimate lap. He rounds the final turn to start the final one. Same for Carson Thornburg. Both drivers with 10-second penalties. Austin heads off the track. Ericsson 10 seconds. And Quee still with that 5-second penalty behind Linus. Lil Bun's corner cut warning. There's so many coming in that even when I see that KV Racing Lotus head off the track, I can't even register it. Ghosted, also with a corner cut. As for who will currently win this race, it's looking like it's going to be Millsauce. As a not Q with a 5-second time penalty as well for cutting corners. And Yellow's in the third. Yellow's in the final sector, and it's for a not Q himself. He's facing the wrong direction. Got it back facing the right one. Olsen went off the track as well. And he's got a time penalty. Some of these tires aren't holding up. 28 for the hards. But for this man, Millsauce Micah, if he can keep the gap between him and Austin above 10 seconds and hold on to those soft tires as well, this will be his race to win for the Polish driver heading through the final chicane. Can he keep it out of the walls? He got a corner cut warning there. He's off the track again. He's in the wall as his teammate did. Thornburg's off the track too. But for Millsauce Micah, if he can keep his wheels spinning as Austin heads off the track, he will take the win on the road. Ericsson gets the track limits warning. As for who will actually win, I believe Austin's got it. Lil Bun's corner cut. Yellow's in the third. That is for Hexel Mark. No, it's not. That's not Quanto Doroki either. That is the revolution of Hexel Mark. If not, it's Tommy who's gone off. Gurovic has also had his own off. Front wing damage down there. And my, oh my, yes. Francis Austin takes victory in Barber due to the 5-second time penalty. And Delhi and Camino weave to go! Oh dearie me, blockade on the final turn, and the final part of the track flying was Lewis Olsen. Oh my goodness me, it's carnage at the 18th turn here in Barber. Lewis Olsen's got 15 seconds worth of time penalties. That's a new record in INDYCAR, 15-second time penalty. Wow. Just wow. This is the podium. Francis Austin taking victory from Milsos Micah and Carson Thornburg by virtue of not having an insane time penalty. Then it's Niven Colby, O'Quee, Linus Erickson, Hector Mark, and Lil Buns for KV Racing. Lotus, then it's Quan Todoroki, Tommy, the last of your point scorers. Then Sebastian Messian, Ghosted, Davy Sekirara, Ewa Puff, Max Bortkar, Silas Kynes, Not You, and Lewis Olsen. And then your non-finishers include David Camino, Elliot Deli, and Saf Sand, with the driver's standings looking like this. Carson Thornburg on a perfect 100-point score heading into the penultimate round in Detroit. He's 9 points in front of Quan Todoroki. Then it's Lil Buns, Francis Austin, Niven Colby, and Mikjan Gurovic, followed by Elliot Deli, Milsos Michael, Linus Erickson, Davy Sekirara, Lewis Olsen, Ewa Puff, Tommy Silas Kynes, Hector Mark, Saf Sand, O'Quee, and Not You, Ghosted, Max Bortkar, David Camino tied with Sebastian Messian. In the constructors' standings heading into the penultimate round of the championship, Chip Ganassi lead the way on 161 points from Sims Motorsport on 141. Then it's KV Racing, 1 point in front of Aaron McLaren SP. Then it's Dragon Penske and Ready Green Racing, followed by Revolution, Hyperdrive, and Apex Pinnacle. Then it's Premier Power Team and Power Motorsport. Well, as the ERL INDYCAR Series prepares to head off to Detroit, it's time to look back with our electric cousins who head towards Manila in the Philippines when the ERL returns for the 21st round of the ERL Formula E Series, the Manila E Prix.